So let's talk about websites first. All right, this is a screenshot of our website. I put this in here because I think it's representative of what we believe is a good above-the-fold layout for a website. So I wanted to point out item by item the things that we're doing here and maybe some lessons that you could extract from what we're doing, and if you want, do it yourself. So the very first thing is the image. This should be one of the first things that catches your eye. You want an image, preferably really big, that somehow says what it is that you do. All right, so this image has to convey, in one image, instead of 1,000 words, what your business does. So for us, digital marketing, it's difficult because the last thing I want is yet another picture of a person behind a laptop clicking away. Like, that's what everybody sees. So we wanted a picture that was just a little bit different, that somehow showed what we do. So we picked a picture of downtown Norfolk with businesses, with some sort of social media and e-commerce buy now. Like it indicates that there's something going on electronically as well, right? So that's the whole point of this image. The next thing is what's called the positioning statement. So in one sentence, and preferably in a very, very short sentence, and even better in just a few words, come up with a statement that encapsulates everything that you want someone to know about you. All right, so for us, it's bold, bold marketing for aggressive growth. All right, and this changes, frankly, all the time. We're constantly debating if this is the right message. We had something different just a couple of weeks ago. So it's okay to change your positioning statement and things like taglines, as long as you believe that the change is a better representation of your business and your value proposition. The next thing that you should see here is a call to action. So for us, it's very clearly we want people to literally call us. Sometimes you'll see up here, contact us. Sometimes you'll see download this white paper. It doesn't really matter what it is as long as it works for you. But we recommend having a call to action for sure, very clearly above the fold, which means the first thing you see on a web page. And it should be big and bold and very easy to locate. So we want someone to click that button and call us. All right, let's move up to the top. That's usually where the eyes go from a user experience standpoint. And we're going to talk about the menu. The menu, this is your navigation system, we think should contain no more than 5 items. Now, a lot of times people like to just pile in items, and they like to have sub-items, and they make it really complex and difficult for the user. So think about your user, and someone, not even your user, this is a potential customer is a better way to say it. Think about how your potential customer is going to perceive coming to your website, and they may know nothing about you. You have to just make it really, really simple. And that's what we're trying to do here. Oh, also notice pricing. Pricing. So this is something that we've had on our website for a long time. We've actually just amplified it. We turned it from like a 300-word article into about 2,000 words, where we go into great detail about what it costs to get digital marketing from us or someone else. Why do we do that? Most people hide behind the sales process and they want to get in front of someone before they ever talk about price. But what do you guys do? When you're shopping for something, you want to know the price. Now, in a situation like ours, it's kind of complex. It's probably complex for your business too, right? Unless you have a price list and your e-commerce and they can just add stuff to the cart, there's probably, it's probably a conversation. And usually it goes something like this. Well, it depends how much it's going to cost based on a lot of different factors. Let me explain some of those factors. And that's exactly what that link takes you to. It says exactly that. Well, it's complicated, it depends, and here's 7 or 10 different factors that you need to think about, and here's price ranges. The exact same way that we would do that we would say to a prospect if we were sitting across the table from them. Consider putting pricing on your website. And then the last thing is off to the right, You've got the phone number. Once again, we want to reiterate the call to action. We want to make it really obvious how you can get in touch with us. We want to be easy to be found. One last thing is, you're not going to see up there social media badges, the little icons that take you to Facebook. All right, we do not recommend putting social media badges in the header, because if you do, you're just begging for your ideal customer to go off into Facebook land. And once they go there, they may never come out, right? So I would not put social media icons in the header. I think it's worthwhile to have them on your website. We recommend the footer, all right? You work really, really hard to get these prospects to your website. Don't entice them with cat memes and everything else. All right, let's move on. Humanize. I think this is really important. You need to have a face for your business, and the smaller your business, I think the more important this is. People come to small and medium-sized businesses because of the human connection. A lot of businesses, I believe, make the mistake of trying to look much, much bigger and more corporate than actually serves their purpose. You are a human being and you have an interesting personality, unique traits. You should highlight that. So this is exactly what we do. On our About page, we have a video of Kevin and myself, the two founders of the company. And in the very beginning, we're kind of goofing around and someone walks in front of the camera and we're just having fun. But we're introducing ourselves and we're telling our story. And if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video is worth 1,000,000. We also have the written word there underneath of it, but we hope that people watch the video. On the right-hand side is some snapshots from our podcast. So we have a daily podcast about growing our agency. It's called Journey to $100 Million. But we actually put all of that on our website as well. Because we're producing content, we want it to be found everywhere. Put it on the website. You can see at the bottom right is show notes, which will get picked up by Google. And if people want to listen, they can click in the middle box there and they can hear us talking about whatever it is that we talk about on the show. It humanizes the content. Right? So put a face to your business, put a voice to your business, and preferably it should be yours. Lead magnets are very, very powerful. A lead magnet is something that someone can get. It's something of value to them. It's something that shouldn't cost them anything besides maybe their email address. So we have one. We're going to send it to everybody here. So it's Digital Marketing Trends for 2020. We wrote that in December. Everything in there is still pertinent. It goes over all the emerging trends. So you'll get that. But this is also on our website. If you were to go to the home page and scroll down a little bit, you would see that we have a section with that image and a description talking about it and saying, come and get this thing. And if you click on the button, we'll ask for your email address because, well, we can do a lot of things with that email address, some of the things that we'll go into later. A few more things that are super important for a website these days. Speed. All right? So your website needs to be as fast as possible. This is an example of an extreme case. And I think Wicked Fast is the name of the web page, right? This gets a 100% in Google's performance tool called Page Insights. Page Speed Insights is what it's called. If you Google for Google Page Speed Insights, you can put in any URL and it will bring back how Google thinks it's performing from a speed and technical perspective. Your goal is to get as close to 100 as possible. It's very, very difficult. Actually, I've never seen 100 except for in this example. Google really cares about speed. Google also very much cares about being mobile friendly. A term like mobile friendly is a term that you've probably heard about for a long time, but we've actually moved past that to mobile first. Have you heard of mobile first or mobile friendly? Is anyone, I'm sure this sounds familiar, right? Okay. So it used to be like mobile responsive, meaning that you want your desktop web page to respond and become smaller on mobile devices. We actually call it desktop responsive now. So Google, when it runs through the internet and it figures out what web pages have good SEO value, it's doing that as if it were doing it from a phone. It's a mobile first index. Desktop doesn't mean much these days. All right, so a couple of key takeaways. And again, I wish I could go super nerdy deep on this, but I can't. So just to kind of like summarize some of the things we talked about, you definitely want very clear messaging. You want it so that when someone comes to your website, they know exactly what you do. Don't make them guess. Don't be clever. Just say what you do. You want a very conspicuous call to action, preferably a button that they can click on and something happens. Get rid of those social media badges, put them in the footer, be human, and generate leads with a lead magnet. And then last, and very important, fast and mobile responsive. All right, next we're going to move into online ads.